Hello, my name is Faisal Khan. I am a banking and a payment consultant, and today we will be discussing what a term sheet consideration is. A term sheet is typically what you get from your solution provider once you have given them all the relevant information and you're seeking a solution, for maybe, I don't know, your banking, licensing, payment processing, a whole structured deal. And it is a result of many days or many weeks of work where you provided all the information to them and you get basically a quote from them and you say, okay, this is what it's going to cost you. The bank tells you, or the solution provider will tell you what tells it, and you may accept it, or it turns out it may be outside your budget, or maybe it's not to your favorable liking, what have you. A reverse way of doing it is you tell your broker and in turn your solution provider, this is what I'm willing to pay. So that is exactly what a term sheet consideration is. It is an estimation provided by you as to the upper limits of what you are willing to pay. So a basic term sheet consideration paper would look something like, your name, your company name, etc. And then you choose, and this is where the main things lie. What is the currency for the term sheet? There could be many currencies. You could be choosing, let's say, the US dollar over here. What's the minimum contract term for you that you will sign up for? The lower the term, the higher the commercials. The higher the term, lower the commercials, and the exits are much more favorable. So in this case, let's say you're choosing 2 years. What is the one-time fee that you're willing to pay? You say, okay, you know what? I'll be willing to pay up to $15,000, and that could be, perfectly acceptable. That could not be acceptable to the service provider. But remember, these are your deal breaker price. Anything above that, it's a deal breaker for you. What is the monthly recurring cost you're willing to pay? Say, okay, I'm willing to pay $2,000 a month. The service provider may ought to charge you maybe $6,000 or $500 a month. It depends. But here you are providing what you are comfortable in paying with. Then there's, the one-time KYC charge for onboarding. You can say, you know what, I'm willing to pay $1.50 for every KYC that we have to do. Then there could be something as a per transaction charge. You could say, you know what, for every transaction I'm willing to pay 60 cents. That could be a very fair amount. You would have to know the industry and the type of network and processing that you're wanting to do and what the average price for that would be. Then there's the volume fees, and the volume fees could be written in basis points or percentage figures. This is the notional fee. This is the fee that they will pay. You can say, listen, I'm willing to pay 0%. That could very well be the case, and it could also be a deal breaker for you. You could also say, you know what, I'm willing to pay 35 basis points, or better known as 0.35%, and that would be okay as well. What is the FX fee? You could say, well, you know what, it's a US dollar to US dollar transaction. I am willing to pay 0. That could be fine. It could be a US dollar to a euro thing, or you could say, okay, I'll pay whatever the FX component is. I'll pay 2.5%. I'll pay 0.5%. I'll pay 60 basis points. It is all up to you. What is the compliance charge you're willing to pay? You can say, you know what, I think $500 per month is a more appropriate compliance charge that I'm willing to pay. That could be okay. What is a transaction fee per transaction that you're willing to pay? The processing fee. So you can say, you know what, I don't know, I'm willing to pay maybe I don't know, 0.05 cents per transaction, or I'm willing to pay 20 cents per transaction. It could very well be the case. And for card processing, you'll say I'll pay zero point 0.4 plus 30 cents, so that's 1 point, so not 0.4, 1.4% plus 30 cents. That would be this thing, and you can write in parentheses, this is for debit card only, and that would be totally okay. Over here, you get one last chance to explain your case and why you're doing what you're doing. Remember, the term sheet consideration is floated once. I cannot stress this fact again. You have one shot at this thing. If the service provider finds out that your prices are not to their liking, they will not take it. So you write your things, you give your explanation, you give your comments that you want them to read, you obviously say confirm submission, etc., and you submit the form. What will happen is then your broker will go take your term sheet, immediately be able to tell off the bat if there's someone that they can find for you or not, if your term sheets are ridiculous or not, if your term sheet considerations are within what is acceptable market standards or not. If something is out, they will probably get on the phone, pick it up, call you up and say, hey, listen, you know what? you gave us a thing. The monthly recurring fee was way out of whack. You know what? The one-time KYC was too low. You know what? The base currency for the term sheet was incorrect. Take it to dollars. Whatever it is, they'll give you some advice, and you may be submitting this term sheet again. Once your term sheet is submitted, they will have a copy, and then the next thing is obviously to find you a solution provider. The solution provider, just by looking at the term sheet, would immediately be able to tell you if they would like to work with you or not. Not having understood fully of what your your program is, or what the whole deal is all about, but just by looking at the term sheet considerations, if it is something that they are willing to even look in your direction and say, okay, you know what, show me this case more, and we'd like to discuss it. So I hope I was able to explain what a term sheet consideration is. I've included a link below in the description to our term sheet consideration page. And as always, if you have a question or a comment, we'd be happy to answer. There is a contact form in the description below. Fill it out. Let us know what you think, and we'll be happy to make a video or answer a question or give a comment out. Till next time, have a good one.